Hey, how's it everyone? I'm back again, ready for another another one of my videos. This time it's not going to be a game recap. This is actually an update and actually a confirmation of some news that I got, of news that I found on social media regarding the University of Hawaii men's basketball team. And this is also an update for the UH softball uh final homestand against UC Davis, but we'll talk about the basketball team first. But hey, but before I get to that, first of all, hey, subscribe if you haven't. I'm going to include a link to a story that I wrote myself about the first topic on hand, and that is regarding Noel Coleman of the University of Hawaii men's basketball team. So let's start. Okay, Noel Coleman. It was rumored that Noel Coleman had played his final game as a Rainbow Warrior in the Stanshare Center back in February for senior night against UC Irvine, in which UH honored three seniors in Samuta Avea, Kamaka Hepa, and Juan Munoz. However, the, the word is, though, that Juan Munoz is petitioning the NCAA for another year because he had gotten an extra year because of uh, a back or not back, but knee surgery. And then this past November, he ended up uh, breaking his Achilles tendon or injuring his Achilles tendon, I should say, in the exhibition matchup against UH Hilo. Now, the rumor is that he wants another season at the University of Hawaii, even though he is a grad student. Now, I'm not sure if Munoz earned his degree yet, but you know what? Hey, we could use him. We could very much use him. And the fact that he's had 2 seasons on the sidelines, I'd hate for him to have to leave the University of Hawaii and not have a tenure here at all. But anyway, as far as Noel Coleman is concerned, on May 5th, I found out on social media that Noel Coleman confirmed on Point with Artie Wilson. He's the guy who handles the he's the TV analyst on the basketball games, at least the men's basketball games, and he was part of the Fabulous Five from back in the 70s, which was certainly before my time. But anyway, it's 100% confirmed that Noel Coleman will return to the University of Hawaii for his last season. And I can tell you right now that is a giant load off our backs, because if Noel Coleman did wind up leaving the University of Hawaii after this season, it would have been a win-win situation because he could go play professionally in Europe because he hails from Belgium. But obviously that would have been a big loss to the UH men's basketball team because Noel Coleman made 57 three-pointers this past season. And there were a couple of times this season where he had five exactly. And Noel has proven to be a valuable asset at the point position, especially when you look back at 2022, um, especially during conference season 2022. But of course, obviously, this past season, the University of Hawaii kind of underachieved what they did as they ended up fifth place. But they did let quite a few games slip through their fingers, including all three games against defending Big West tournament champs Cal State Fullerton, which I think should never have happened. And I highlighted in the past of why UH did not do as well as I'm sure that they were hoping that they would, because of three things. Jerome DeRosier wasn't granted a second senior season. That hurt. Losing Juan Munoz in the exhibition matchup, that hurt even worse. The bench players going down, they didn't really fill in the blanks either. And Now we're looking really good for a possible second Big West Conference championship, or perhaps even a second Big West tournament win. Because because as it stands right now, the only time UH won the Big West tournament was in 2016. But in terms of the NCAA tournament, and you're looking at the Big West teams only, the only team to make it past the first round of the NCAA tournament is the University of Hawaii. And unfortunately, after that season, just about every single one of their star players ended up leaving because Roderick Bobbitt graduated, Quincy Smith graduated, Aaron Valdez drafted for the NBA, Stefan Jankovic turned pro in Europe, and we ended up losing some guys from the bench as well in Nico Filipovic and Stefan Jovanovic. They ended up transferring to Loyola Marymount. So unfortunately, the team has been rebuilding, and the only guy from the Fab Five there that returned the following season was Mike Thomas. So obviously, UH and the results have shown because UH has not finished better than third since then. And when did they finish third? Last season. Since then, they've been hovering around fourth, fifth, or sixth. But this season, they finished fifth when they were picked to finish second. But now the future looks very bright with signings of players like Matthew Cotton, Justin McCoy, and of course Juan Munoz petitioning for another year from the NCAA. And now Noel Coleman has announced he will return for his last year of eligibility. Now, in terms of returning players, Jovan McClanahan is in for his last season. And rumor is that Cody Williams, the walk-on point guard, will be under scholarship with the transferring of some players like Justice Jackson, Amaro Lotto, and Beon Riley. And a fourth player, if you count Zor Ned, one of the other walk-ons, Couple A product. And of course, I do have an update as well that, of course, after looking on Instagram, Zor Ned has announced he's transferring to UH Hilo. Justice Jackson has landed at University of Tennessee Martin. That'll start next season. And just recently, Beon Riley announced he was transferring to Utah Tech. And obviously, those three players that I mentioned, or those four players I mentioned, are certainly big losses, although Zor Ned is kind of a double-edged sword in my book because he was in the same grad class as me. But hey, if Zor wants time on the courts, UH Hilo could end up working out for him. But as far as the other three guys go, Amaro Lotto, Beon Riley, and Justice Jackson, those are major daggers to the team. Because I would have predicted a championship if those guys chose to stay. But I have a feeling that this past season had a little bit to do with why so many guys transferred. The only guy I haven't heard from is Amaro Lotto. The only thing I have heard is that he is going to be leaving the state of Hawaii on I think May 15th. So obviously those are big losses. They would certainly have been contributors and or perhaps future starters before their tenures were over. So that's a big loss there, especially Zor Ned, because Zor got a lot of time on the court last 2 seasons ago in 2022 after Samuta Avea went down with back surgery. And of course, obviously, the search for a local product like Samuta that can put up the same kind of numbers as he can, oh, that's twice as difficult, especially when you're looking at other islands too. And now the second bit of news that I have is regarding the UH softball games. I will be attending those games. I will be attending the Thursday game. Friday doubleheader, I will be there for sure. I'll just have to make a couple changes on my side away from the softball field. And I know I have included links to my stories. I have done another story on the softball team, but they need to pick things up because in the past 5 games, they've lost all 5 games and have been outscored by their opponents 23-3. So obviously, the University of Hawaii has got to turn something around. And obviously, some of it could be bad luck. Some of it could be being shorthanded. Some girls that aren't available to play. But I don't know. I don't know how softball works uh, off the field anyway, at least in terms of the starting lineup. But they're going to have to start well, defend well, and do good and play efficiently. Now, obviously, this week is senior week. Obviously, UH is going to be bidding goodbye, bidding aloha to a few seniors. I'll post that in my next. I'll mention them in my next recap. But I know that Amanda Ajari is one. Sarah Bartolotti is another. Dallas Millwood is a third, and so is Princess Matavao, I think, and Rachel Saberin, otherwise AKA Bueller from Ferris Bueller. I don't know anything about that, so don't ask me about that. So okay, so I hope that they can win. I like to think that they can win that series, but they're going to have to do a lot better than what we've seen, than what I've seen anyway in the past 5 games. So they're going to have to start out well and come out with some fire in their eyes, especially since it's senior week. And another someone who's participating in commencement on the softball team, Maya Nakamura, and she's a junior. I'm not sure if she's going to return for a Masters or return for her final season, but we'll see what happens. So, so I do think we could win the series, but we're going to have to start really, really well. So, so anyway, guys, that's it for today. And I'll see you guys again for another softball recap. The softball game will be on Thursday. Doubleheader will be Friday. So, anyway, guys, that's all for today. Well, I'm a punter, everyone.